Hi again. Today's book is in the category of non-fiction, and it's written by David Thomas, and I think it's his only work of non-fiction because he's written under the pen name of Tom Kane some really good thrillers. Anyway, Ostland is a story in three main phases, and in the first phase the main character, uh, Georg Heuser, is newly appointed to the murder squad in the Berlin Kripo, the Kriminalpolizei of Berlin. And he quickly gets involved in the hunt for a psychotic sex killer who is killing and raping women on the Berlin S-Bahn, the subway. And it becomes a very high profile case, and Reinhard Heydrich, the head of the security headquarters, who oversee all the police, the SS by this stage of the war, this is 1941, had taken over the police as a whole, even though the Kriminalpolizei was really not an SS branch. It's very interesting, the hunt for a serial killer during the blackout, and obviously the killer uses that to his advantage. Anyway, by some really good police work, Heuser solves the case. They find the culprit, and he's locked up and eventually executed. And Heydrich is delighted with this and promotes Heuser to an Einsatzkommando. In other words, an SS killing squad out in the east, in the Ukraine, what the Nazis refer to as Ostland. And together with some help from some local militia, they start slaughtering anyone who they consider an enemy, commissars, anyone prominent in politics, but mainly Jews. And this has been well documented, but the book makes clear, and this is the second part of the book, it concerns his activities in the Einsatzkommando, really gives the reader an insight into what was going on. Because even though Georg Heuser is a senior officer, he is expected to set an example to the troops and has to take part in the slaughter. So it describes a day where, starting very, very early, they just stand in front of a trench and people are lined up in front of the line of SS. They're shot in the back of the neck, they fall, another line comes up, and this goes on all day and all week. And it's absolutely mind-numbing, the detail of what went on. So the Einsatzkommando, which were part of the Einsatzgruppen, were three very large, almost armies operating in the east, were the start really of the Holocaust, the mass extermination. Eventually shooting was found to be inefficient in many ways, including on the men themselves. They became alcoholics. Even these monsters became affected by the amount of killing they were doing. So it's a very interesting look at how somebody who was at the start quite a decent guy, a police officer dedicated to arresting criminals, becomes a state-sponsored serial killer himself. And then the third part of the book is after World War II, and it's the hunt and the process to try to bring him to justice, with the Z Commission, which was the office set up in West Germany to prosecute war criminals. This is a true story, you know, all the details are there, and it's a fascinating story, and it's told by a writer. As I say, he's written thrillers. The guy can write, he can hold your attention, even though the source material is often very disturbing and very grim. Um, it's nevertheless very interesting and very well told, and I really recommend it, particularly for those who don't really have that much knowledge of what went on in Ostland. So all in all, terrific book.